This thing with former President Lungu's funeral, I think it's deeper than just a standoff between government and family. What Dixon Jero wrote about this, I think he's absolutely right. And I want to unpack it because it's one of the few sober-minded reactions to the situation that I have seen. Let's understand this. Edgar Lungu is the first former president to die while his benefits were withdrawn, and the first former president to die outside Zambia. Why were his benefits withdrawn? Because under the Zambian law, a former president loses his benefits if he returns to active politics. Lungu returned to active politics. And because of it, his office, his staff, his state support, everything that was supported by government was withdrawn. He became the first former president to die without official government connection. Basically, he became a private citizen like you and me. Here's what he lost under that law: official office and government paid staff, a government provided fully furnished house. He lost state security. He lost full medical coverage, both local and international, 2 state maintained vehicles, an official driver and fuel allowance, first class air travel, per diem, accommodation, etc., etc. A monthly pension that is also equal to the sitting president's salary. He lost all that. And to make things even more complicated, Lungu had a very strained relationship with the current president, Hakainde Hichilema. They weren't just political opponents, they were longtime rivals, and it's not a secret. Now, compare that to the others. When Chiluba died, he'd reconciled with President Banda. When Kaunda died, he and Lungu were in a good place. When Banda passed away, President HH handled it smoothly. And Rupia Banda even left a pre-burial will. That's how organized he was. The difference? All those men had their official offices still running. They still had access to full benefits. So the state always knew where they were, what was happening with them. They had the state support, they had security, they had medical teams. President Lungu did not. His benefits were gone. No staff from government, no protocol team, no official plan for repatriation. He was literally on his own, aside from family, of course. So naturally, the family stepped in. They were the only ones handling his health, his movements, and now his funeral. And honestly, you can't blame them. The same state that had years of legal and political battles with him and his party, the same state that cut him off while he was alive, now wants to take over when he's gone. That's emotional, that's personal, that's human. Of course, the family are reluctant to cooperate with the government. And yes, because he was a private citizen, they have the right to reject a state funeral. But let's be clear, his benefits were withdrawn because of the law, not because of a grudge, not to punish. That's what the law says. So when he died, there was no protocol team, no state machinery, no official channel. He was on his own, even in death. No wonder the delays in the communication and planning. But here's the thing. Former President Lungu is still former president. He was still commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And that title does not disappear because of politics. Yes, you can disagree with his choices, but his rank is permanent. Let there be a compromise. Let him have a military send-off. Let him have a presidential farewell. Not out of favor, but out of duty. He was voted for by millions. And let's not forget, other presidents and dignitaries want to attend. That means government must definitely be involved. Also, such a big funeral requires big resources that can easily bankrupt the family or whoever decides to step in and fund it. We're already hearing calls for people to come to contribute to feeding the people that have gathered at the secretariat. Let the state pay for it. So, politicians, cadres, supporters, and everyone on both sides, please stop with the emotional outbursts. Let this be handled soberly, carefully, not emotionally. Leadership, after all, is not about who can be the most dramatic or charismatic. Leadership calls for people who can think and act soberly during an emotionally charged situation like this one. Let this funeral be a fitting send-off for a man who once ruled this great nation. Yeah, I know some of you are like, Kachanana, stay in your lane, this is politics. Okay. The link to my international dating strategies is in the comments. But today, this was the conversation that mattered. Rest well, ECL. Bye, guys.